So it's the next morning here, and I'm a little bit concerned about this ewe that had triplets last night. That lamb, the way it's laying, when they lay kind of in a praying position, hunched over like that, that's not a healthy look. It means he probably hasn't been up and sucked. The way these other two are looking, I'm a little bit concerned she doesn't have milk, so I'm out here. I got some colostrum mixed up. I'm gonna give them to him like I always give them. With triplets, most of the time I'll give them 2 shots of colostrum just to take a load off the ewe. I like to keep the lambs on the ewe 24 hours before I pull anything off. Just if there is a chance they can get milk, the clostridial vaccine passes through the milk, and that's pretty important. So I'm not really liking what I'm seeing here this morning, but I'm gonna give these guys some tubes and see what happens. So she's standing with her back to me here. I'm just gonna reach under and feel her udder without getting her excited. I don't feel any lumps. She feels healthy enough, but we'll just see if she could have a teat issue or who knows what. Try and move as steady and slowly as I can, not get her excited. Ooh, this guy's definitely sucked. You can feel it in his belly, but thank you. So I'm gonna keep colostrum out in the barn here. I find if I put it in the fridge, it gets too cold and then I can't warm it up enough. I don't mix enough colostrum at one time that I'm gonna have extra, try and use up what I have. So there's about a half a bottle in here. 1 bottle does about 6 lambs, and that's good enough to do these guys again by this evening. And I try and set the bottle and the syringe in a way that the sheep can knock it down and then destroy it later. So when I walk back to the barn expecting to feed them, I have to make a second trip and get all new supplies. So I'm gonna check her for milk. There's kind of a technique to this that I've discovered. Back the ewe up into the corner and do your best to wrestle her and try and see if she's got milk. And usually they do not enjoy the process. Try not to yank as much as I just did. They don't seem to like that very much, but she does have milk. On one side it's good, the other side it's a little iffy, might clear up. She doesn't feel like she's got mastitis or any hard spots in the udder, and usually that can limit milk flow. Just keeping an eye on these guys. The way we're situated in the barn here, the air comes, and this jug specifically, the cold draft hits them. So that's not helping things. I might move them around a little bit to fix that, but I could turn the fans down, but it's supposed to be warm enough today that I just like to keep the air moving. It makes it healthier in here for the sheep. So I'm gonna watch these guys through the day, and I'll plan to come back here later afternoon with another shot of colostrum, check her milk again, and at that point I might pull the 3rd one, because if she's a little bit iffy on milk to begin with, she's gonna have a tough time raising 2, let alone 3. Got this one orphan here. He was a really tiny little triplet, and he's not loving life right now. I've been having a tough time getting him on the bottle. So I keep trying periodically through the day. Thing about lambs, whether it's in the orphan pen or on the ewe, if they don't figure out sucking right away, they just go lay down in the corner, and usually they don't get another resurgence of energy. That's just it. So you want to do everything you can to eliminate them getting sleepy and just forgetting, because lambs just don't care. Hey, you're up. You figuring out I'm the food source? Kind of been our thing this week. He gets the first few down and then he just gives up. Another thing, when you're trying to help a lamb suck on the bucket, the rest of every other lamb in that pen is going to be there helping you out. And these are the oldest orphans. They are 2 days away from being weaned off the milk. They made sure to let me know that they were not happy with me when the milk ran out last night. They chewed every nipple off, and that was my fault. But they've been on a lamb starter creep, and I mix a little bit of decox in that as I need to, and they're doing great on it. They're starting to really go through it. The average age in here is 30 days tomorrow, and then I'm just going to pull the milk cold turkey. They're going to complain a bit, but then they'll be fine. Moved a bunch more ewes and lambs into this group pen here. They're all pretty small, and there's about 16 in here now, so I put about 4 more in here before I call this full, and I'll start another group pen. These guys are looking pretty good. Had a couple rough goes with some ewes this group that just don't have milk, but these guys are starting to come around. This was a ewe that I found down below. One of the lambs was born in the snow. It was pretty cold. I thought it was going to be touch and go. It wasn't looking good, but it's the one in the corner there, and he's been getting up and stretching these last couple days. And if they're stretching and their little tail is wagging, then you know things are looking good. Well, I was in the house having lunch, and I heard quite a commotion out here. And the boys are getting pretty excited. They're after something in this corner here, so... It's okay, it's okay, it's just a weasel. It's not gonna eat the sheep, guys. So they are right fired up, and there's a weasel trapped in the shed. So it's the next day here after I unloaded that alfalfa silage. I bought a couple bales of green feed a while ago, and today I picked them up. This is a mix of barley and oats wrapped, baled and wrapped. This baler didn't have a cutter. This baler was a John Deere baler, so these bales are about as tight as cotton candy. It's very long, stringy stuff. And I know it's going to be a challenge in the mixer, but I needed just a little bit more tonnage of the barley silage to make it through. This stuff feed tested very similar to the pile silage. It looks pretty good. It's a little bit too dry, so I'm a little bit disappointed about that. And here's that white mold that I've been talking about. That stuff's bad news with sheep. I've just unrolled the outside edge of this bale, and that seems to be the worst. That's usually where most of the problems are. Now, these balers are not known for making tight bales, like I said, and with silage, that's pretty key. This is that alfalfa bale. It came from out of a McHale baler with knives. That is a tight, solid bale. This came out of a John Deere baler, and it just is just not tight. It's the best you can do with that kind of baler. It results in poor quality feed. The other thing I have to keep in mind is this stuff tests about 25–30% moisture. My pit silage tests about 65. So while the feed content is relatively the same, the amount of feed added is going to be significantly less because you want the dry matter numbers to stay the same. So 1 pound of pit silage compared to 1 pound of bale silage is very different. You're going from 35 to 65%. So I've done the math, kind of figuring what I need to add. I worked it in my ration numbers, and we'll just kind of see how it mixes in the mixer today. Well, that's not working as well as I'd hoped it would. Long stringy material like oats is pretty tough to cut. This is what I was talking about yesterday, where the feed mixer is not a feed processor. It will size it down, but it won't bring it down to the chop length that I need. This is silage out of the chopper. It's the same plant, same material. It just gets chopped up so much finer. And that's pretty much perfect for sheep. They can't sort through that as easy. This stuff's long and stringy, and it's really expensive to mix.